Not a stained glass window, but a stained glass window effect with paints you can easily make yourself. And you can paint this directly onto a window or onto scraps of Perspex or even in desperation onto a clear plastic bottle. But the stuff flakes off plastic bottles pretty easily, and if you put it on a window it could fade fairly fast. So bits of Perspex are the best if you can get them. And they can be any shape like this, or you can cut them into squares or rectangles, but whenever you do it, make sure that the bit you end up with is clean. You can do that easily by just scrubbing it with a rag or tissue and a bit of water. But do that because the paint has a bit of trouble sticking to this stuff, and you want to give it every chance you can. Well, whatever shape you end up with, you then have to decide what your design's going to be. You can paint directly onto it or onto the window or whatever you're using, but for my money it's not a bad idea to make a paper pattern. And I've done one by putting this sort of rectangle down onto the paper, getting a pencil and drawing around it to give you the outline, then removing the plastic and sketching in the picture I want. In this case it's going to be a stained glass effect of an angel. Once you've done that, of course, you can put the plastic back on it and then paint over the top, because the lines will show through and tell you where you're going. And that's a handy trick. Well, what about the paint? In fact, you make it out of glue, but a very special one. It's this sort of glue. It's white PVA glue. It's often known as white glue, and it comes in plastic bottles like this. It doesn't look very promising as a stained glass window paint when you squeeze it out, because it's a thick, creamy white. But it dries clear. And if you add to it a colouring agent that is also clear, you're going to get a clear paint, a clear coloured paint. And the best colouring agent I know is food colouring. Well, you put a dollop of glue down like that, and you get your paintbrush and get, in this case, green food colouring. Put it on your mixing board beside it. I find cardboard's fine. The stuff's so thick it doesn't run very far. You won't need an awful lot of colouring to make a pretty decent paint. But you do have to make sure you mix it in very thoroughly. So there we go. And you can soon see if it's mixed because all the white streakiness will go. Well, you keep on mixing and then you select whatever paintbrush is the right size for the area you're going to paint. There are a few tricks in this. Let's proceed with the angel. First of all, remember, you can wash your brushes out in water. I'll do that now because it's easily removed. But when you take the paint on the brush and go to the plastic, you may find on some of the plastic that the paint recoils a bit and tries to run off the plastic. Don't be alarmed by that. Just keep pushing it out where you want it to be, and eventually it'll learn who's boss and stay there. This one's staying pretty well. And of course you can always go over it with a second coat, and that'll make the colour even richer. Now, it's great stuff. As you paint it, you can see it's quite opaque. It's easy to see where you've been, and it's only after you've finished that the stuff will dry and go clear. And so you paint all your designs like this. Make sure each colour is dry before you add the next one, and as a tip, start with the dark colours first. Well, I'm not going to complete that, but if I did, and put in the blue sky and the yellow wings and things, and let it dry, it would come up looking like this. If I hold it to the light, you can see that it's clear. And you keep on going like that, putting in the different colours and so on. And when you've filled in all the blocks of colours, you're ready for the lines, because stained glass windows are full of those. So let's go to this one. You can see it's like that. I'm going to put it down and put the lines on. Now, stained glass windows have lead lines, and they are really black. And it's hard to make black with these colours. The best you can do is to put a bit of everything together. So if I take some green and put it there, and a bit of red, I shouldn't mix my paints, but this is the end of the trick, and a bit of blue, I should get a fairly satisfactory earthy dark brown. And that's about right. Take your finest brush, anoint it with the liner, get rid of the surplus paint, and then go over all the junctions between your coloured blocks very carefully. And that'll give you beautiful definition. You can use this also for doing things like fingers and feathers and eyes and things. Well, I'll show you, that's the start of it, but when you're finished and set it aside to dry, this is the end of it. A stained glass window ready for Christmas. And those little uneven lumps in it really help the whole thing along. You can do it any way you like. Paint straight onto glass, do whatever you like, but for my money, the best way to start is with a pattern.
curiosity.